Hello students, today we are moving to the last part of the chapter, that is locomotion and movement, that is the different type of joints. Okay, so first of all, the joints means it is the connection between the two bones. The connection between two bones can be possible because of different type of things, like the fibers. We have different type of fibers. We can have collagen fiber, then after that we have cartilage. Okay, so different type of cartilage are also present. Okay, so different type of parts or tissues makes or joins the two bones together. Now the joints can be broadly divided into three types. First of all, immovable joints, slightly movable joints, and freely movable joints. So if it comes to the immovable joints, they are the fibrous joints. The fibrous joints are not movable because it is made up of thick cartilaginous collagen fiber. So because of the presence of collagen fiber, okay, so because of the presence of the collagen fiber, what happens to the fibrous joints? It is immovable. Okay, it is immovable. The reason is it is the collagen fibers that makes the bones so tight that it is impossible that the bones can move. Okay, so in this fibrous joints, what we have, the joints and the skull, or a tooth with the socket. These are the examples of the immovable joints, which is made up of, the joint is going to have the collagen fiber in it. Okay, next one, we have the cartilaginous joints. The cartilage which is present on the tip of our nose and in the pinna, it is slightly movable, right? So it is because of the cartilage, it is slightly movable joints. Okay, so how it can be slightly movable joints? Because here what happens, it is going to have the cartilage in it, and because of the presence of the cartilage, it is going to be slightly movable, but it is not, yes, obviously it is not completely freely movable. So where we can get this slightly movable joints? Here in between the sternum and the ribs. Okay, our chest cavity, the sternum and the ribs, I have told that here we have the cartilage, because of what the inspiration makes this thoracic cavity a little larger, or the thoracic cavity increases its volume whenever we whenever we inspirate, right? And whenever we expirate, the volume of the thoracic cavity decreases. How can this be possible? Because of the presence of the sternum and the ribs. Okay, so here this is one example of the cartilaginous, which is slightly movable joints which have the fibrous cartilage in it. So what is that? Sternum and ribs, or the pubic symphysis. As I have told you, the pubic symphysis is white fibrous cartilage. So how can this be possible? It is because of the two pubic bones attached to each other of the two pelvic girdles by this fibrous cartilage. So pubic symphysis is also slightly movable. Okay, last one is this synovial joints, and synovial joints are freely movable joints. So how can this be freely movable joints? In the synovial joints, just see, first of all, in the in this freely movable joints, let's just draw first of all how this freely movable joints look like. Okay, just make two bones here. So this is one bone, this is the next bone. Okay, so in between the two bones, what we have, first of all, one cartilage will be there. So this will be articular cartilage. Okay, so this is the articular cartilage. Then next one, in between these two bones, what we are going to have, one membrane, and this membrane is going to hold this entire bone. Okay, so first of all, one ligament we have, this is the ligament. Okay, what is the name of this ligament? This is the synovial ligament. So this is synovial ligament, and inside the synovial ligament, what we have, the membrane, that is the synovial membrane. This synovial membrane secrete a liquid. So this liquid will be the synovial liquid. right? And this make the two bones greasier so that the bones can easily freely move, okay, because of the presence of this synovial membrane which secrete a fluid that is called as a synovial fluid, and because of the synovial fluid these bones can freely move, right? Now after that, let's just move to the different type of movable or synovial joints, right? So first of all, we have the ball and socket joint. Suppose this is one socket within which we have a ball which can allow the movement of this in all this direction. So here first one we have the ball and socket joint. In this ball and socket joint, what happens, the movement can occur in all the directions. So what happens here, we have this joint. What is this joint? This is the shoulder joint, and on the hip also we have the hip joint, which can allow the movement of the hands and the legs in all the direction in the shoulder region and in the hip region. So this is going to be the ball and socket joint. Next one, we have the hinge joint. So in the hinge joint, what happens, the movement can be possible in only one plane. So what happens, suppose you are taking one example of humerus and this too radius and ulna. So whenever you move this, it is allowing the movement in only in one direction. Is it possible after that it can go? No. So what is it? It is happening in only one plane. So this is called as the hinge joint. We have the example of elbow joint or knee joint. So in the knee also, in backward direction it will go, not in the forward direction, right? So this will be the hinge joint. Next one, we have the condylar joint. So what is condylar joint now? That it is allowing the movement in two direction. Remember what is happening. See, if it is happening that condylar joint, that suppose this is your palm part and these are the metacarpals, right? Here these are the phalanges, right? So in this metacarpal and the phalanges, what happens, you can move your hands, the digits in two directions. Suppose this is the metacarpal and this is the phalanges, okay? So movement can be possible in two direction, in this plane and in this plane. So what is this? This will be the condylar joint. Next one, we have the gliding or sliding joints, which is the simplest type of synovial joints. So what is it actually? In this joints, what happens, suppose we have two rows of bones, they can freely move, gliding or sliding over each other. So what can we say that will be the gliding or sliding joints? Here we have the examples of carpals and the tarsals. So carpal bones, I have told you how many carpals we have. 8 carpals in 2 rows, 4 in each of the rows, which can glide over each other. So this will be the simplest type of synovial joints we have, right? So this will be the gliding or the sliding joints. The last one is the saddle joint, which also we can say that it is the poor ball and socket joint. What happens here, that movement can be possible but not on all the directions. Okay, suppose you are trying to move your thumb. It seems like you can move in all the direction, but actually it is not. It is not making a complete circuit. So somewhere it is getting restricted. So what is it? This will be the saddle joint, right? So what happens in the saddle joint, that you can move but not freely in all the directions. You can move in all the direction but not freely. Somewhere it gets stuck. Okay, so what is that? That will be called as the saddle joint. So one example, here we have the thumb with the carpals and also like carpals with the metacarpals. Okay, so it is also not the complete free in all directions. It can move but not freely. So it will be called as the saddle joint, which is also called as a poor ball and socket joint, right? So these are the different type of joints you can remember, and yes, examples are needed. So once you just twice or thrice practice it, you can remember all of the names. Okay, basically you don't have to remember all of it. If you can logically think about this, then it will be easier for you to remember. So these are all the types of joints we have discussed. After that, let's just move to the last part, that is the disorders of the skeletal system or the muscles. Let's just move to this part. After that, let us move to the disorders of the muscular as well as the skeletal system. So first of all, the disease here is myasthenia gravis. So what is myasthenia gravis? It is actually one disorder. This is called as autoimmune disorder. Now what is autoimmune disorder? That our body forgets the distinction between the self and non-self. Normally what happens whenever a foreign particle enters inside our body, our immune system try to first of all detect the foreign particle, and whenever it detects the foreign particle, after that by producing antibody and cytotoxic killer cell, it kills the foreign particle, right? Now whenever foreign particle enters inside our body and our immune system cannot even detect the self and non-self and starts attacking our own cells, then a condition appears that is called as myasthenia gravis. So in this case what happens, you have already studied about this, that here suppose we have this muscle cell. In the muscle cell what we have, the sarcolemma, T tubules are there. On the membrane what we are going to have, the receptors. So these receptors with which the acetylcholine is going to get attached. Now what happens, our immune system do not able to distinguish between the self and non-self, and these receptors are being destroyed by our own immune system. Then whenever the neuron gives a stimulus, their acetylcholine will not able to bind with anything. So that's why the action potential cannot be generated in the muscle, and if the muscle cannot get an impulse from the neuron, the muscle will not undergo contraction. So muscle will be in the relaxed state. Okay, so that can lead to the weakness of this individual. Okay, that can lead to weakness, and gradually that individual will undergo paralysis. Okay, paralysis. So this is what happens in myasthenia gravis. Okay, next another thing, another disorder we are going to see is muscular dystrophy. So just see here also I can show that in the same cell what we have inside, we are going to have the myofibrils. What are the myofibrils? Here we have the actins, here myosin, these are the actins, here the myosins, right? So what happens, we are going to have one protein which is going to hold the actin filaments with the sarcolemma. So what are they? They are called as the dystrophin protein. So what happens in muscular dystrophy? It is actually one genetic disorder. Okay, remember it is a genetic disorder. So in this genetic disorder what happens, our body cannot synthesize a protein called dystrophin protein. So dystrophin protein, if it is not generated, then gradually this muscle thickness will start to get decreased, because the actin and myosin will get detached. Okay, then after that, in this case the muscle will start to get thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. Okay, and muscle wasting will start to occur. Okay, so in this case the dystrophin protein will not be generated, will not form. Okay, so this is a case called muscular dystrophy. After that, next disease, let us see, is tetany, a very small disease. So it's problematic. So what happens in tetany, that the individual gradually what happens in the body, calcium ions start to decrease. Okay, so whenever calcium ion decrease or start to get decreased, then what happens, the muscle which will have abnormal contraction, even if we are in the relaxed state, muscle will start to undergo contraction, and that can lead to also weakness. Okay, so that condition is called as tetany. The next disease we will see is arthritis. There are three types of arthritis we have. What are they? Osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and we have one disease that is also called and come under the arthritis itself. This is gout. So what is this? First of all, osteoarthritis. You can remember that in this bone, suppose this is one bone, this is another bone. In between these two bones, the bone surface will be lined by one articular cartilage. So what happens? This articular cartilage will start to get destroyed. Okay, that can lead to the inflammation. Inflammation occurs that can lead to the movement of the bones painful. Okay, so this is called as osteoarthritis. Next, another disease we have, which is rheumatoid arthritis. So in this rheumatoid arthritis, what happens? We have this synovial membrane, right? This is the synovial ligament, and here we have this membrane. So this membrane will start to get inflamed. Okay, so it starts to swell. So whenever it swells, what happens? The movement also will become painful. Okay, and in this case, what happens? It starts to produce a granule that is called as pannus. So this pannus granule will start to deposit also in the synovial fluid, and that can cause painful movement of the bones, right? Next one, we have a condition called gout. So in this gout disease, what happens? Also the movement will be painful. Yes, this disease is age related. Osteoarthritis is also age related. And what happens in this disease gout, that in this individual uric acid starts to deposit, and whenever uric acid starts to get deposited in this synovial fluid, that makes the movement painful. So this disease is called as gout. Next disease is osteoporosis. So what is it? What is the osteoporosis disease? Normally, what happens? This is the bone. Okay, in this bone, what we have? This is a normal bone, right? Now, from this, suppose that calcium ions start to get removed. Okay, calcium ions start to get removed. Then what happens? We are start to develop pores in it. So these are all pores. Okay, pores start to occur in that bone that cause the thinning of the bone. Okay, porous bone, right? Why this happens? Due to less calcium ion in the blood. So a hormone is there that is called as the Perrett hormone. So if the Perrett hormone start to increase, it takes the calcium ion from the bone and increase the level of calcium ion in the blood. Okay, and that can also lead to a condition called osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is common in the females. So what happens in the females? There is a hormone called estrogens. So this estrogen hormones level maintains the calcium ion level in the body. Now what happens that in that female, after the menopause, after the menstrual cycle at a certain age like 45-50 years, what happened? Menstrual cycle stops, and whenever menstrual cycle stops, the level of estrogen falls, and due to the less estrogen level, what happens? The calcium ion cannot be regulated. Calcium ion will start to decrease in the blood. So that's why from the bone, because bone is the storehouse of calcium ion, all of us we know. So calcium ion will start to remove from the bones, and then after that the blood will start to increase the calcium ion level. So blood calcium ion level will increase. Why this has been increased? Because from the bone the calcium ion is getting removed. Okay, so this is a reason why the females at a certain age, the bones start to get thinner, breakage of bone is very prominent, as well as the individual, the female cannot move, or generally pain occurs. Okay, so this is called as osteoporosis. This is age related also. After the 40 to 50 years of menopause, after 40-50 years, the female suffers. It's not like men do not suffer. Men also suffer from osteoporosis. What happens in the men? That due to less vitamin iron, vitamin D actually helps in reabsorption of calcium ion. So if there is less vitamin D in the food or from the sunlight, we are not able to get sufficient amount of vitamin D, then the body cannot absorb the calcium ion from the food. Then also the blood calcium ion level will start to decrease, and from the bone, that compensation will come from the bone, and bones start to get thinner. Okay, so that disease is called as osteoporosis. The last disease is osteomalacia or rickets. So in this case, what happens? Osteomalacia is actually occurring in the adult, and ricket is occurring in the childhood. So So it is same that the vitamin deficiency, so this is vitamin D deficiency, and due to lack of vitamin D, calcium ion is not being absorbed, bones start to get thinner in the childhood, and in the adult the individual can suffer from osteomalacia, that is thinning of bone. So this is what happens during the lack of or less vitamin D or less calcium ion in the body, that can lead to a disease called osteomalacia in the adult and rickets in the childhood. So these are all the different type of disease disorders we have seen related to the muscular system as well as the skeletal system. I hope you understand. Start to read from the first to last. Remember the diseases, read NCERT. It will be helpful for your NEET exam. Thank you.